Welcome, Knicks Nation, to a new episode of Knicks Dreams. To join the conversation, please drop your comments in the chat. And in a few minutes, I'll be adding the actual link to join us as a panelist if you choose. With that being said, we're going to kick off this conversation with our assessment of the Knicks Magic game. And then eventually we're going to transition into today's game against the Timberwolves. With that being said, I want to pass the rock to my man, Notorious BUG, and give us your take on what you saw between the Knicks and the Magic.
Good afternoon, fam. Glad to be here. Looking back on that game, I mean, it's been a while now with COVID and everything, but I think that we were just tired. No gas in the tank. You know, it got to the point where everybody was just exhausted. And you could see it on their face, and you could see it in their shooting. For example, I always say if you can't shoot threes, move inside for the twos. But you know, these people weren't even hitting twos. They just didn't have the legs. They didn't have the legs, and you saw when they were running up and down the court. They were exhausted, man. I think this rest would be good for them for the day, to be honest. And with that, let me drop it down through the legs to Will Seville, notorious. To Will Seville, Nostradamus, go on.
I'm not Nostradamus, I'm Billstradamus. Nostradamus was some old European witchcraft.
I'm sorry, brother. Then you're going to have to cut that gray beard.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep my gray beard, and I'm Billstradamus. And I guess they were tired because, you know, I was expecting a beatdown, which I said in the show prior to the game. I was expecting us to just, you know, go in their house and just run them out of their own house. And it didn't happen that way. As a matter of fact, we won the first quarter by 9 and then lost all of the preceding quarters afterwards. We lost the second quarter by 6. Then our great third quarters that we've been having, we lost the third quarter by 16, and we lost the fourth quarter by 5. So not much to say with regard to what went good on our side of the ball, with the exception of the fact that the Riddler was seemingly having a good game, and he got the hook from Captain Hook, and you know, and that's all she wrote. So I'm going to leave it at that for now, and I'm going to give a pass behind the neck to my man Dream.
And I'm gonna start this Sunday off by rocking the cradle on baseline. And there's really nothing good to say except Mama said there'd be days like this. So you know, we start out 32 points in the first quarter, and then we show out with 33 points in the second half. That's just horrendous. Like, you know, like you guys said, we didn't show up to play. We talked about in a previous show that this could be a trap game. We didn't really want to go in that direction, but there it was. Trap, travel, revenge game, no adjustments, and overall performance. Fell right into that trap, man. And I think it just got outcoached overall. You know, we said they may double down. They said they would try to take things away from us, and they didn't approach that game with anything that was going to combat that outside of the first quarter. You know, Randall got on a little bit of a roll, and I think the guys kind of just checked out and was like, "Oh, he'll carry us through another game." And you know, he did what he did, but it wasn't that 44 that was going to carry us through another game. And the rest of the guys just, like you said, no legs, didn't show up. Just overall flat performance, you know. And with that, I'm just going to roll my ball across the court.
Okay, so here it is, fellas. You guys are being too kind. You guys are being too nice. You guys are giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Let's go, coach.
I'm not having it. Okay, I'm gonna break it down for you. Okay,
break it
doing laps.
So here it is. First quarter, they did their thing. Everybody's fine. Everybody's fresh. They're doing their thing. Second quarter, here comes the second unit. And now all of a sudden, we're facing a team that's looking like the Golden State Warriors as opposed to the Orlando Magic, hitting threes left and right. Now, come on. Hitting threes? I mean, you're supposed to defend that. I mean, yeah, if you leave guys wide open, they're going to shoot them. But hitting threes at a clip of 45%, unacceptable. Okay? Third quarter, again, I mean, that was a horrendous quarter. And both D-Rose and Quickly, they shot horribly. Horrible. I mean, they made 2 shots out of 21 shots. Unacceptable. And what makes matters worse is that Tibbs keeps them in there.
Yeah.
Rather than playing the hot hand. You had Randall, you had Peyton, and you had Barrett.
Yep.
Okay? Those 3 guys were producing.
Yep.
And he sat them for stretches, giving this second unit the benefit of the doubt that they were going to come back and pull out the game. No, I don't care about any type of routine, your roster. You go with your high hand. When guys are cold like those cats were, you sit them. You got to be Captain Hook with them too. And eventually he was Captain Hook with Derrick Rose and Peyton, and he kept Quickly in there in the fourth quarter trying to run the point. That didn't work. Now, if we're going to say that they were tired, first of all, they had a game in between. Now, what they probably did was they went to the, you know what kind of bar I'm talking about before the game or the night before the game, and they got distracted, and that's what they were doing. Okay, I'm trying to keep it clean.
They went to get some lemon pepper wings.
Yeah, there you go. The Lou Williams. They did the Lou Williams, bro.
Yeah,
they did the Lou Williams. Exactly.
Oh, you coughing? You sure you wasn't up there with him?
Hey, my mom lives down there, brother. My mom lives down there, so I could go down there.
Full disclosure, I was actually eating lemon pepper wings during that game.
Oh Lord!
I got a spot right up the block. I got Wingstop near me, and for some of the games, I go get me, I go do
get your wings. You get your wings.
Yeah, and I was eating lemon pepper wings during that game on Wednesday.
So this being tired nonsense, no, that's tired. That's tired. That's unacceptable, because when you have an opportunity to get to 500, you position yourself. This is the message that you're sending as a team. You don't relinquish that. You know what I mean? They snatched defeat in the jaws of victory. Correct. That's what they did. And that's just unacceptable. I put it on Tibbs. That game, they lost that game because of Tibbs. I'm not taking anything away from Clifford, their coach, because as I mentioned in our previous episode, exactly, I said it. Yeah. They're from the same coaching tree. They're defensive minded. It's like me and Bill. Me and Bill, we play ball. We know each other's game. Now, if we're coaching against each other, we're gonna know the little nuances. We're friends, but we want to win.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying unacceptable. Go ahead, Notorious. Go ahead, brother.
I have to agree and disagree with you.
Go ahead, brother.
I disagree with you about the players. I agree with you about Tibbs, because that was a game to put Frankie Baby into the game. Maybe new life, as fresh legs, who can shoot, who can play defense, might have sparked something with anybody. I'll take you back to Ali Frazier 1. Ali was doing his thing, dancing and everything. Frazier's up in him, pushing him back with his head and his shoulders, beating him down until he got tired. Once he lost his legs, no matter how much heart Ali had, he wasn't as sharp as he was, and he got hit and got knocked down, and he lost that fight. Same thing here. First quarter, we running game. We running like we blowing out a college team. Come second quarter, we lagging. We start slowing up. Gas tank is almost on empties on quarter. On the third quarter, we empty. We just empty. Fourth quarter, we were running on vapors. You could see it. All you needed was somebody to say, okay, come out, let's put in a new 5. You would have seen smiles on people's faces. That's exhaustion.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. That's exhaustion, man. So, like I said, I agree and disagree with you. I think that certain things, it's supposed to be instinctive. Like I told you before, you got a team shooting threes, you got to watch the tapes. You got to know what's that person's spot. No matter how tired I am, I need to be standing on the spot that he likes to shoot at so he doesn't shoot at that spot. Let him shoot from the left of that spot, behind that spot, on the other side of that spot, but not on that spot. Why? Because he practiced shooting there all the time. You know, force of habit. Change the person's habit, you change the results. And that's what we have to do as a team. And that you can do while you're tired. We don't do it. So the coaching part is still there. You have a problem with playing people. You have a problem with defending certain things. And we damn sure have a problem with offensive rebounds. I don't care if you tell us, oh, we got 10 offensive rebounds. Let me get rid of this real quick. How many times we got 10 or 12 offensive rebounds? We have a problem with offensive rebounds because offensive rebounds give you second chances and second putting. And that would help this team tremendously, and we don't have it. So we still have work to do. It's a young team, new coaches, still have work to do. And with that, I'm going to pass it to who berated me for calling him something else, Bill Thomas.
Thank you. Now, back to Tibbs. Why is he playing? And don't give me that defense because defense wasn't there. Why is he giving Bullock 33 minutes? And another thing with Bullock and Burks and Quickly, our so-called three-point shooters ain't hitting threes. We shot 7 for 27 from the three-point line. See, this is your fault, Santana. You got me riled up now. I was trying to give them a pass, but
no passes.
You went and brought up the Tibbs situation, and I agree with you. Tibbs blew that game. He kept Quick and Rose in there far too long when it was clearly not their night, and he took the Riddler out when it looked like he was on path to have another good game.
And Peyton
and Peyton, both of those guys, along with the usual suspect Julius, they were having good games, and he seemed to just be coaching his way. Tibbs is a stubborn dude. He likes certain things his way, and he likes to coach a certain way. And it seems like he couldn't get out of his own way the other night because he was so strict and stringent on when he was going to put Quick and Rose in his rotations. And then he leaves them in there, regardless of how poorly they're performing, he leaves them in there for far too long. Then you bring the Riddler back in and Peyton back in, and you expect them to be hot as they were in the first half. That's ridiculous. So I agree with you. His rotations were terrible. He played Noel for 30 minutes. Noel had 9 rebounds, which led the team, and he only had 6 points. But you got to play him. He played Gibson for 16 minutes, 6 rebounds, 2 points. Now we can't help that unless they're going to bring somebody in to assist that. That's what we're going to get from the 5 spot.
Right.
But when you got guys going in the other areas where we sorely need help, when they're going good, you got to ride them out.
Mm-hmm.
You got to scrap your system for this particular game and go with what's getting you the better result. And Tibbs doesn't seem to. I don't know if he's able to do it, but he's just very stubborn in his manner of substitutions and his coaching habits. I'm trying to find some goodness out of us, and I just can't. I can't find it really. Obi, he dropped Obi down to 12 minutes, and Obi only had 3 points. He gave Knox a minute. The thing is that like, why are you giving him a minute? If you either you're gonna play the kid or not, and we could have used him in there at least to help change things around. Once you saw that Quick and Rose, they were both off, and then Quick, he's floating from the bench. He's floating air balls and stuff now, or he's floating them. They're hitting the back of the backboard, and it's like you weren't doing that earlier. So, maybe you need to sit down and regroup and watch Peyton do what he was doing, and to show you, okay, when you go back in, knock it off with the 3-point shooting. If you're off, go to the hole and try to draw some attention so you can pass off for an easy bucket, or float closer to the basket. You're more likely to make them then. Other than that, I didn't see any good really. I mean, Burks played 24 minutes, 8 points and 3 rebounds. His shot seems to be off all of a sudden. Beginning of the season, his shots seem to be on more than the others, but now all of our, like I said, we don't have marksmen. We have decent 3-point shooters. So our game can't be shooting a whole bunch of 3-pointers every game. 27 was too much. For us to only make 7 of them, that was just too many 3-pointers for us. That's what? That's a 25. That's a 26% shooting from 3-point, and we can do without that. We could have taken 20 of those 27. We could have taken 7 of those and shot them closer to the basket and had a better chance of winning this game. Rebounds. We were out rebounded by them 50-46. We both had 10 offensive rebounds, which speaks to Notorious's point. We got to do better in that area with the offensive rebounds. 10 offensive rebounds is not good, especially if you're going to be shooting 27 threes and then they're shooting how many threes did they shoot? They shot more than we did. They shot 34 of them. We got, we got to do better with the rebounding, because a lot of those are long rebounds, which the guards are supposed to be trying to pick up on. And therefore, if it's not our night shooting, as we've been saying all season, we got to drive the ball to the hole. I'm not going to take up much more of your time. I'm going to hand it off to the Dream. Simple bounce pass so you can rip the rim down. Take it, Dream.
Well, Bugs had walked me off the plank a little bit, but then you turned me around. So now I got to go dive in. Scottie Pippen on Patrick Ewing dunk and just push the Knicks out of my way for that performance. I just got to get it out of my system, So, but basically the only hit, you wanted a little bit of good news. I mean, the only little bit of good news I was able to pull out of this is that overall in the rest of the games that night, the schedule, the game still fell to us. It really didn't hurt us that much. We didn't slide at all. But I will say a team that is streaking that we need to keep our eyes on is Toronto, because they are starting to make a push back to where they're supposed to be. And we weren't talking about them recently. We've been talking about the Atlantas, the Charlottes, those type of teams that are right around the 6, 7, 8 marks. And here comes this team flying straight through the standings now. And they're on a little bit of a roll. I think they lost recently, maybe not. But that being said, this one game, what hurts us is that this was a game, even though we always say don't take anything lightly, we really, really kind of all mentally put this in the W, right? And we were like, we're going to keep this streak alive, keep flowing through February, and then get this next homestand coming up. That being said, sometimes it happens, we're never going to like it, especially when we're trying to scrap for these easy wins. And that was an easy win, not according to Orlando, because they were ready for us. And we talked about it, like we said, and they doubled down on that D and they took away the bench from us. And that was the thing that we were riding the last couple of games. Randall and the bench. One of the two was going to spark us. And when we didn't get that second half spark from either one, basically, it was a wrap from there. So, that being said, my hand hurts from that last dunk, and I'm going to toss it up top to Santana.
So now let's transition into today's game or tonight's game against Minnesota Timberwolves. It's gonna be interesting. You're gonna have Carl Anthony Towns coming home, and we'll see how he plays. I know it's been a tough year for him because of the loss of his mother, so it'll be interesting to see how he performs. If he's gonna be all in or if he's gonna be distracted, who knows? You know, he's coming back home. You don't know what kind of feelings he may be going through right now, any type of withdrawals or whatever the case may be. Then, of course, their point guard. Point guard is out. You know, and that that trade that was made to get him there was to create that nice combination be him, D'Angelo Russell and cousin, and Towns. And we're not seeing that. I think they've played a total of 5 games together in their tenure, which is a shame because they're nice young upcoming players, and they're not producing at the level that you expect. And then they got their number 1 draft pick, who has been playing decent ball recently. I mean, he did a nasty dunk.
Ooh.
I saw in a highlight package. I mean, it was just nasty. Yeah. I mean, he just baseline and just banged it on him and just landed on him and everything. I mean,
that was nasty. That was nasty.
You know what I mean? The interesting part about this game is that Tibbs should have a good sense of the players on that team, with the exception of this rookie. But everybody else on that team, he should know their game. So he should be able to prepare this team to defend that team and be able to lock them up. If he's gonna carry his weight as a defensive coach, this is an opportunity for him to show that. And I'm not knocking Tibbs. I think he's a great defensive coach. I really do think that. Right. But I'm going to hold him accountable because I can't accept bad coaching, regardless of who you are. If you're coaching well, you're coaching well. If you're coaching bad, I'm going to call it as it is, as I see it. Okay? And this is a game where he should be able to go back and really break down the players on that team when he was there during his tenure, and and bring back a scouting report to lock people up. Like Notorious said, if you know a guy likes a certain spot, then you got to be in that spot.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You don't want to give him the spot. Yeah, you give him that spot, he's going to make it. But if you're there, you on his hip, you on his right hand, you on his right shoulder. If he's a right-handed shooter, it's going to be more difficult for him to get that shot off. If you don't give him space to lift, it's going to be more difficult. But if you just lackadaisical on defense, he's going to have a field day. So with that being said, I'm going to pass the ball to my man Notorious and give us your take on what you think is going to happen today against the Timberwolves.
Well, as soon as you give me the ball, I'm looking at it, and I'm going to have to call a timeout, man. I'm going to have to reassess, because what you're saying about Tibbs is true, except for the one factor that we always forget about, and that is insanity. When you have a new player that you haven't played and you haven't coached, and he comes out hot like that poster, I hope there's no poster tonight. I hope there's no poster tonight, because that can ignite a whole team. And we need to be very careful on how to set our defense on that. And I always say, and I'm going to say it again, we have to keep the back door closed. Too many teams are running through our back door. And it's getting to be to the point where everybody's calling it. You know how they play. Now, luckily, I say this, they're playing it better without Mitch, which is good for leaving that door open. They have not taught them how not to. So we're playing better, but we need to keep the back door open. And in terms of the rebounding, let's make it easy. 2-1-2. All right? 2 men for the offensive rebound, 1 man either from the key or from the foul line. The other 2 holding down the fast break. That'll capture any long rebounds. You have 2 people fighting underneath, and you have your guards for the fast break if it starts up. That's how you can combat that. Those are the things that we need to look at. And I believe in KIS sometimes, and this is one of those times. Karl Anthony Towns, we don't know what mindset he's going to be in. If he's going to be focused and determined on the game to keep his mind off his mother, or is it just going to be too painful for him? As I say, even with the people when I work that I deal with, you can't put a time limit on somebody's grief. And you don't know what type of mentality they have to take to it. So with that, I'm going to keep it simple with a simple chess pass to Bill Stradamus.
All right. With regard to the cat and his mom passed some time ago, but I don't know if he's been, other than
earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but I'm saying he hasn't been. Have they played against Brooklyn yet? He hasn't been here to play. I'm pretty sure it'll be on his mind. However, that might be a good thing. That might turn, and he might let us see something that make us start talking about bringing him home and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to be prepared for that. Like Papi Santos said, Tibbs knows him, knows his game and everything, and should know with his defensive acumen how or the best way that we should guard him to combat whatever he's going to be able to throw at us. So I'm expecting him to come in, and give us that work. But I'm also expecting Tibbs to put our guys in position to be able to stop that work or to slow it down at least. You said D'Lo's not playing, so that brings who comes on after? Would that be Malik Beasley
or Rubio?
Or Rubio? What position does Beasley play? Because he's good. He's a two guard. Okay, we gotta look out for that.
Guard, but I think he's a shooting guard in that offense.
You got to look out for him because there've been past talks about us, looking at him, and he may be thinking that this is his way to audition by giving us one of his better games. So we got to watch out for him. Rubio is a real point guard, so we got to be careful. Which brings us back to Notorious's point with the back door. We got to keep that door closed. Look out because that's how Rubio likes to play. Who else do they got over there?
Well, the draft pick. I forget his name.
The draft pick.
Edwards, right? Edwards.
Yeah. That kid, that dunk is enough to put us on guard about anything else that he may be able to do. That dunk was ridiculous. I know you mentioned it once, but I'm gonna mention it again. That dunk was.
Say it again.
That dunk was crazy. And if he gets a chance to do that on Noel or Taj, he's gonna definitely try to do it. Definitely, no doubt in my mind. So we got to look out for him too. With all that being said, they are 7 wins and 23 losses in 30 games. So with that being said, I'm expecting us to win with no excuses. So we shouldn't be coming on here, whatever the next game is, talking about, well, they was tired. There's no way they should be tired. They've been wrestling since Wednesday. Today is Sunday. We have a team that is not as good as we are coming into our building. And we need to do what we're supposed to do. We're going to start calling ourselves a playoff team. These are the games we got to win, regardless of what's going on in our camp. Okay, we're down a player. So are they. They're down a player. We got to handle our business. I'm expecting us to handle our business. And I expect us to win this game. Without all of this, any fanfare, I ain't going, I'm not going to give any analogies on how we're going to do it, but I'm expecting us to win. And that's it. And with that being said, simple behind the back to the dream.
I like that simple pass, but I'm going to get complex. I'm going to spin this around right here.
Over
the eyes like Cedric Ceballos. I'm coming down the lane, fellas. So this is what we do, right? So basically get into this game. We are looking at Minnesota, like you said, worst team in the league record-wise. They haven't really been playing all that well. They got some guys out. The only reason I'm not going to go in the trap direction is because their defense doesn't say they're going to hold us down like the way Orlando's defense said. Orlando had a 10th ranked defense. They were similar to the Rockets. We got past the Rockets. But here's the third team in a row. We catching sliding way out of the standings. They're 2-8 in their last 10, and they lost 4 out of their last 5 games. And like I said, most recently, I think they lost to Toronto. Actually, I think it was Friday. And they only put up like 81 points or something like that. So, if we treat this game the right way, if we come out and do what we're supposed to do, then we should handle our business. Like I said, they're bottom in scoring and in defense. So we need to take advantage of that because we know the Knicks, even though we're not anywhere, in the top of the scoring, we are on the top of the defense. And we do handle our business in rebounding and stuff like that. Shots blocked, they're surprisingly at the top of the league. So they do have some guys who could track a ball going to the basket. So we need to be aware of that, not take lackadaisical shots, floaters, things like that, get too close to the bodies, things like that, because they do have guys for some reason who do get to the ball. And, hopefully this is the game that the bench gets back on track. They're already using some of their reserves, sliding them into the starting spots. So now we need to take advantage of the bench because it's going to be less than, you know what I mean? So that being said, I don't want to take up too much time. I'll toss it back up. Lob pass across the basket, Santana.
So I'm gonna say, I expect a bounce back game by the Knicks in this game for a myriad of reasons. Obviously, 3 days off. The other issue is obviously the way that they lost against Orlando. They're not gonna allow that to happen again. I don't think so. Not so close to that loss. And of course, they want to stop the slide. They don't want to create a new streak. They were coming into the Orlando game off a winning streak. Mm-hmm. They lost against Orlando, and now you want to start a new streak, especially because we're going to be able to play a few games at home starting today, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Mm-hmm. And I know I'll be at the Garden on Saturday, so that'll be cool. I'm looking forward to that. But by then, we should see where they're going to be at in terms of their overall standing. With that said, I'm going to hold off on any predictions in terms of the score, because we got some time, and I wanted to bring up, some trade talks that, is going out there in the ether. And I just wanted to get your takes, each and every single one of you, on what you hearing out there, what you think, and, what you think the Knicks should do. So, Notorious, go ahead, brother. Tell us what you think about the potential trades that are being floated out there.
Okay, trade for Boogie? No, capital N-O. Drummond, I'm still interested in, depending on what we have to give up for him. Levine, I like what he's been doing. I can't lie. But is the cost too high? Is the cost too high? Love him to be a Knick, but is the cost too high? I'm trying to keep the shooting guard for New Orleans.
Yeah. Oh.
Redick, JJ
Redick. Love him to be a Knick. What we don't have is consistent shooting, and we all know as fans what consistent shooting means. We do not have consistent shooting. That's a problem. We do not have consistent shooting. We do not have offensive rebounds. So those are the things that we need to build on. So, for those reasons, those are the people who I'm talking about in terms of doing something. And with that, behind the back to Bill might be able to have some better picks.
No, going with the same people that you're talking about, with the exception of, now you didn't mention Beal. Beal is going to cost too much. I'm hearing the what they want for Beal, and I'm like, what are you mad? I'm hearing they want 2 number ones, the Riddler, and they want to switch picks.
But the question is, Bill, does he help or keep us the same or make us worse? Because Westbrook, I'm gonna tell you, I've been a fan of Westbrook since day one, still a fan of Westbrook. But Westbrook is a one-man team. He is a one-man army. We don't have an army, we have a team. And with that, we don't need a one-man army that's going to hurt us. So I think of those things when we think of who to pick up.
Right. That's what I'm saying. We don't need Beal. Okay. We don't. I don't think. Plus, they're asking for too much for him. Now, I like Zach LaVine. Like I like the things that he's doing, but I don't want to give up a lot to get him either. He would have to come over here and fit into what we got going on, and for that, I wouldn't want to give up a whole lot. Now, his teammate, I'm interested in, Laurie Markkinen, and I don't know if we can get him, but I think he would fit better than LaVine would with this current team. He would fit better, Laurie Markkinen, because he's a big body, so he can rebound, so he would help on our offensive rebound, and he shoots better than all of our so-called shooters. He shoots much better than all of our shooters, so therefore he would fit perfectly with us. JJ Redick, I would love to have him come over here. However, I don't know what he would cost. He might cost something like maybe a Knox can get him over here. And if we would have to give up Knox to get him, I think I'd be for that. I would be for that. I wouldn't want to give up number one for him or anything like that. But I could live with us giving up Knox for JJ Redick with this current team. Big men. I think Jared Allen is off the table. And so it's gonna be Drummond, and same thing with Drummond. I don't want to give up a whole lot because what did they to get him? Cleveland gave up a bag of candy to get him. So I don't want to give up more, and he's older. So I would be willing to kick the tires on him. However, if it's costing too much, then we'll wait for Mitch to get back and see what maybe we can get somebody in the off season. I'm not hearing about. Let me see. Anybody else out there that I'm hearing about? I haven't heard much, and that's why I was waiting for maybe Dream has heard some other rumors or anything that he can throw at us and let us decide, how we feel about him. So with that being said, bounce pass between the legs of the opponent to the Dream.
I'm gonna take a technical foul because I'm gonna hang on my left hand on the rim and dunk with my right just for fun.
All right,
let's have some fun. So I've been writing down the names of some of these people that we're talking about. The LaVine, like I mentioned. So I'm going to preface the whole conversation with this. We've talked about in the past about trades, and I think we've all come to an agreement. It's not just bringing the bodies in, but bringing the bodies that fit our current style of play and the offense and the direction we want to go. So it's like a lot of the people that have curved some of my expectations on as far as trades have come, out of that conversation. And so I've changed how I felt on some of these things. You know what I'm saying? LaVine, unfortunately, going to cost too much, and I'm not sure that doesn't change the style of our offense from, still developing Barrett, the right way, taking away a little bit from Randall and what he likes to do. I'm not sure that the fit is exactly what we want, but he's a great player on the rise. And it's hard to turn your head, when, as far as acknowledging that, The reason I say no is because we have to make a decision on how we feel about Quickly, because now that he's making noise, people, teams that want to trade, now the Heat's being thrown in the conversation. So right. For Chicago, that's one of the people that they're now requesting be tossed into a trade because they don't really care about a Knox or anything. They're like, okay, maybe we can do something with Quickly. So that's the only thing about LaVine or those couple things. With New Orleans, JJ Redick is a great shooter. He's shown that over time. He definitely wants to come back up to the Northeast. He's made that known. I just think that other teams in better positions, contending positions, Philadelphia's and the Brooklyns of the world, they're going to try to outbid us for somebody like him. But I don't know how you guys feel about Lonzo Ball coming into the point guard position, where he fits. He's kind of starting to be phased out of their offense a little bit here and there because they have a couple of other guards that are starting to make noise down there. Kyra Lewis and Alexander, I think is the other kid, Nikhil Alexander. So, that's just for that kind of a player, I don't think it would take much. We could toss him a couple of players on the low end and a second round pick, something like that. Sacramento, Buddy Hield. He's somebody that you don't really build around. He can come in as a shooter and slide into our offense. I'm not sure what everybody feels about him. He tends, personally for me, he tends to be a little bit streaky. But as soon as I say that and he comes to play the Knicks, he streaks into 30 points all the time. So I don't know, how I feel about it.
Everybody gets 30 points in New York.
Everybody streaks into 30 points, right? Including this guy tonight.
They think they're playing in the Rucker.
Yeah. So with Drummond, I'm okay with Drummond not at a trade price, at a buyout in the buyout market. Right. I know it's going to be crazy in a buyout market. People are going to be trying to throw a lot of stuff, but we have money also to throw at him. And the most recent thing that I've seen, it would take 10 of the 16 or 17 million that we got sitting right now in reserve to get somebody like Drummond to pry him away from everybody. So do we want to give up $10 million for half a season, of Drummond, basically, if he hits the buyout market? This is without any trade, stuff going on. As far as trading for him, I don't know. They're already sitting him out. So, it's whatever he was putting up, the 2010 that he's doing, So that's basically we'll be adding to our offense. And again, he's not the type of person we'd be, basically changing our offense around. He would be bringing what he has into our offense and then picking up whatever, a better version of what we have at center already. Marketing, we spoke about. We could trade for him if we really want him. If somebody starts to make noise on him and kicking the tires on it, we definitely need to be in that conversation and doing everything we can to bring him here, because I think he could be a vital part. I don't want to say like all our eggs are in that basket, because, if he doesn't turn out to be what we think, then it's like, oh man, we did that for nothing. But I think he's definitely trending in the right direction, been a player that's been solid in the league, and he could be, for what we need on our offense, he could be very effective for us, Minnesota's Beasley. I mean, like you said, Mr. Thomas, people have talked about it here and there, behind the scenes. Hasn't really caught a lot of fire. I don't really think a lot of people pay attention to Beasley, but he does put up about 20 points a game, and he's pretty effective from the outside. I mean, it's not a guy, like I said, I can follow all the time, but if you look up his stats, stat-wise, he puts up his numbers in the offense like that already has D'Angelo Russell and Big Cat. So if he's putting up 20 within that, that's not bad. That's something to look at. As far as the centers, and then I'll come back to one more shooter for my own preference I threw in last week. But the centers, McGee, even though we, Drummond and what was the other guy? Jared Allen. We talked about they may be off the table, but Santana had mentioned McGee a couple of weeks ago. Just somebody to fill in as a body down low. Not to really do so much offensively, but to be there a solid presence in the middle who understands how to play offense, box out, rebound, and be effective down low. I thought he may be somebody, and somebody I've been talking about for a while because he's just sitting on the bench collecting dust, is Daniel Tyson in Boston. He's kind of a scrappy center. I don't think he's that effective on offense, but that's fine. I just like him for his dog ability, and he's not going to cost much to get, nothing like that. The guy that I mentioned last week, if JJ Redick does end up in Philadelphia, I believe the Knicks could probably call Philadelphia too and send them Peyton, because they're interested in Alfred Payton for Seth Curry. And I think Seth Curry in our offense.
I would love that. I would love Seth Curry over there.
So I would send them a couple of pieces, even though I don't want to part with Peyton because he's been playing well, and I think he's doing exactly what our team needs right now. Playing that defense, getting the offensive rebounds, putting back buckets. Not so much the outside shooting, but he's doing all the other intangibles when you watch him play. I do like what he's bringing to the offense. But if it means adding a player like Seth Curry, I think that would be productive for our offense too. But
Peyton has heart.
And Peyton has heart. Yes, I believe so. So that would be a little shake up to the guards. What we're going to do to the guard rotation. I mentioned that last time. I really didn't have an answer for that. If we remove Peyton from that, who starts, versus who comes off the bench and how they effectively rotate into the offense. But, adding the shooter, I guess, we'll have to look at that at some point too, to make the next move. We added Rose. That gave us a little bit of shot in the arm. Now we're going to look at this next month, really deciding what kind of a team we're going to be going forward. If we're already going to be in the bottom of the playoff brackets, but that's okay. But are we going to add to that or hold our assets and build in the offseason? That being said, I toss it up top. Santana.
So in terms of the JJ Redick thing, I don't know if you guys saw that he has a podcast and he interviewed Randall recently.
I didn't see that one. Okay.
I didn't see it.
Oh yeah.
I didn't see it.
Check it out.
Okay.
I think that was done. Timing is everything. For it to happen now, just before, as trade deadlines is coming up and stuff like that, that is a coincidence to me. I'm not saying that him trying to interview Randall wasn't going to happen at some point, but for it to happen now, it gives him a platform to not only establish a relationship with Randall, but also to send certain messages, hidden messages to the New York Knicks. I'll share the link with you guys.
Okay.
I'll post it in the chat so you could listen to that interview. It's a very good interview because you were able to see Randall, share a lot of insights of what's going on in the locker room in terms of Tibbs and also in terms of Randall himself. Because usually when he talks to the media, the regular media, he's a little bit more reserved and stoic. In this interview, he was more outgoing and he seemed a little bit more open. So you guys got to check that out. I think that's by design. That's a way of Redick sending a message that he loved to play with the Knicks. He didn't say that, but you can tell.
Yeah. He lives in New York.
He has a house in Brooklyn. Yeah,
he lives in Brooklyn. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's a very strong possibility. My concern only with that particular move is, how much does Griffin, who is the GM over or basketball president of basketball operations over in New Orleans, because he's always trying to fleece everybody.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to give up that much for a guy whose, I believe, contract is expiring. And on top of that, I'm sorry, what was that?
He's in his 30s, late 30s, isn't he? 35?
Yeah, exactly.
36.
Exactly. So, that's the only reservation that I have there. Now, in terms of the Drummond deal, I don't have a problem with Drummond so long as if we get him as a result of a buyout. I don't want to trade.
Yeah.
I don't want to trade. Okay, I wouldn't because he's a free agent. I don't want to have to give up something or give up a lot when we could get him during the summer if we wanted to go that route.
If we want to go that route. Yeah.
So that's my position on that. The marketing deal, I think it would be a great deal. It wouldn't cost us a lot. He's only due to make $9 million next year, so he has another year on his contract. So I would definitely try to make a move for him because he shores up a couple of things. He provides us with a stretch 4/5 because he's 7 feet, but he could play the 4 or the 5 and
or the 3.
Or the 3, exactly. So he could definitely do that. And then, of course, he's young. He's not going to cost us a lot. Levine, he's going to cost. That's not going to be an easy trade to make because he's going to cost us. And what are we going to give up to get him? And then if we give him up, whose spot is he taking? Because he's a shooting guard.
Mm-hmm. And right how does it change the team?
The dynamic, exactly. The knock on marketing is that he doesn't play D, but that Chicago don't play D. So if he comes over here, I believe he's gonna definitely, throw the line and he's
gonna fall in line like everybody else.
Yeah, and he's gonna play his D. He's gonna play his D and he's gonna get his shots. So those are the kind of players that I would look at carefully and try to make a move, and hopefully the Knicks will. Now, the point that you made, Akeem or Dream, about if let's say Redick ends up in Philly and then picking up Seth. Seth is a good pickup for us because he provides perimeter shooting, which is something we don't have. My concern with that deal is giving up Peyton. And the reason for that is because let's say if we gave up Peyton, then we only have Derrick Rose and we have Quickly. Quickly is not ready.
Yeah.
He's already proven he's not ready to be a point guard. And now that thrusts Derrick Rose in the forefront. Now he has to log more minutes.
Yeah, and that's what we didn't want.
And that's the value of Peyton. You see, when you have Peyton in there, you don't have to depend on Quickly to be the point guard at all.
So what do you think about Santana? I mean, Ball Santana.
I like Ball. I like Ball. I think Ball would be a good fit here because he moves the ball. He rebounds well. He plays good defense. And when he gets that rebound, he's not bouncing the air out the ball. He's looking down court first. He's looking down court first. So he's gonna energize this team. The question is, okay, if we were to get a Ball, who are we giving up? Are we giving up Peyton? If that's the case, then it's a question of, okay, do you bring Derek into the starting lineup or you let Ball start? And, those are the dynamics there. The key is I don't want to make a trade where we get rid of Peyton and then we're left with only Rose as our true point guard because he's not going to be able to carry the load by himself. Quickly will not be able to do it. He's already proven that.
Well, I wouldn't get rid of Peyton unless I had somebody that could take away my nightmares every night of us giving away Peyton.
Yeah.
That's how much I feel about Peyton running the point for us and starting at the point. Yes. Like I said, he is what he is supposed to be. I said it from day one when everybody wanted to trade him. No, Peyton is a point guard.
Traditional
a point guard with heart.
Yes.
And that's even though the league has gotten soft, because I remember the day of elbows and hand checks.
Listen, last year, I think it was last year, he was gonna pick a fight with Jay Crowder at the Garden. Mm-hmm. Okay, Jay Crowder tried to get funds.
Forget that. Remember the fight
in the heart.
The fight he was getting ready to have in Los Angeles when they was clowning the Knicks.
Yeah. Well, that's Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder. That's who he was gonna fight.
Yeah, that's when he fouled him. Yeah.
That's who he stood right there. He wanted that smoke. That showed me right then and there. That cat got hard. Yeah. He got hard and he got cojones.
And he has pride. And he has pride.
Yeah. Exactly. So, when I saw that in here, I said, I like this cat, man. This cat, he's not taking any shorts. He ain't backing down. He's coming to play.
There you go.
And Trotter was the guy that was clowning. So
it wasn't just him, it was a whole Laker team.
Yeah.
Now, with all of that, if we were to bring Ball over here, it would have to be for him to start. I don't see bringing Ball over here for him to come off the bench to play with who. So my guess is that if we were to get Ball, we would more than likely be giving up Peyton. Now, with all of this talk that we've been doing, if we could get Seth over here, we give up Peyton and still able to get Ball, I'm for that. If we were able to get Seth Curry over here, via giving up Peyton, but still able to get Ball somehow over here, I would be for those two moves because we would satisfy.
I could see a 3-team trade.
Right, we would be able to satisfy our point guard going forward, and I think Ball is a good point guard.
I do.
So he's more of a traditional point guard.
He's
like
Jason Kidd.
Yeah,
he's like Jason Kidd. When Jason Kidd came into, Jason Kidd couldn't hit
perimeter
shots. He couldn't hit it.
Didn't start shooting.
He was running.
He was in his 30s.
Yeah, exactly.
But you gotta be serious, man. Nobody played like White Chocolate.
No. White Chocolate is a different story, though. That's a different animal there.
Mm-hmm. But Ball, Lonzo Ball, over here starting with say Seth Curry. And then you got Rose and Quick coming off the bench. I would love that. I think
this is the thing.
Would love that.
That would cost us at least one of the first round picks.
Okay,
you have to send that to Griffin. A first and second to Griffin for him to release him. But part of a 3-team package, like let those 3 teams work something out.
But this is the thing. There's a rumor. A word on the street is that supposedly New Orleans and Charlotte are trying to work out a deal. And therefore, they're trying to pair up the Ball brothers.
Yeah,
that's the word on the street. I don't know how accurate it is.
New
but
thing
that's
is
the word.
siblings on the same team. That seems to be the thing nowadays.
They talked about doing that on the Knicks if the Knicks would have got Ball. They talked about his brother hitting the free agent market and pairing them up. You know.
And his father was on a couple of circuits saying that he wanted his boys to play for the Knicks.
Yeah,
he did say that.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
I
wouldn't be shocked if that happens for Charlotte. You know.
Yeah, that may happen because right now it doesn't look like Ball is in their futures in terms of New Orleans. So they got to get whatever they can get out of him now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So,
So we'll see. Any other takes on trades before we start talking about predictions for tonight's game?
I mean, speaking of Charlotte, they got some guards that we could try to go pry from them. They got an overload of guards there. Terry Rozier, Devontae Graham. I wouldn't mind any one of those guys,
No, Terry's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
He's playing. He's balling. That cat is balling.
And Devontae Graham was balling too.
Say it again.
Devontae Graham, he was balling over there too. So, and then now you got Ball balling. So they got three.
That's what I'm saying. We got an overload of guys. They got to make a decision soon, But they, slowly but surely, that team's coming along too.
Yeah. Oh, they on the up and coming. They're up and coming.
But you gotta remember. But you gotta remember something, guys. When we talk about who you giving up, remember, most point guards can play shooting guard. Most shooting guards can play both point guard because that's how they were brought up. Mm-hmm. When you talk about giving up, remember Rose told young boy Q, what you want to do, play your game. Mm-hmm. I can play it either way you want. Yeah. Let me make you comfortable. Now, when you talk about bringing all these other guards, and when you talk about Ball and all of them, remember they can play it either way. Yeah. I've seen Ball come out, being the rookie, and he's played shooting and he's played point. And Lord knows when he plays point, just keep your eyes open because the ball's coming to you if you're open. Yeah. He's that good. Sure. He's that good. Sure. Yeah. But he's played both. I've seen him play the shooting guard.
Yeah. And I want to say Seth Curry played point guard at Duke, no?
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
The
thing with Seth Curry now, that dude is like one of the best shooters in the whole game. Seth Curry.
Yeah,
and what almost makes that easy is that if Doc got to give up his son-in-law, he only got to go down the road.
Yeah, you can send his son right back there. Plus Rivers into the trade, send him over there. We take your son-in-law, you take your son. We keep it in the family.
But I think
my boy, the river runs deep over here. Leave the boy alone.
Oh man.
Listen. The other thing though, in terms of Doc, though, I think he also realizes Seth is a better shooter than his son. And in Philadelphia, they need that perimeter game. So I don't think that he would. I mean, as much as he probably would love to have his son play for him, he knows Seth is a better shooter. And for that team, they need as many shooters as they possibly can. That was their Achilles heel since the Redick.
Let it go.
No, their Achilles heel.
I know what you're going to say. Embiid's
mentality.
No, but hold on a second.
That was their killer.
No, hold on.
This year.
Hold on a second. When JJ Redick was in Philly, okay? Okay? And they had Embiid, okay? They lost to Kawhi Leonard. In the Eastern Conference Championships.
Yeah, I know.
And then the season after that, they didn't have JJ Redick.
You got Redick, right?
Other shooters. That's when they weren't producing at the level that they did when they had the Redicks and the other shooter. That's not to absorb.
But they didn't just have Redick. They had my man down in Miami too. Come on, don't forget that.
They had a bunch of guys.
Exactly.
So they had a team. What they didn't have was the proper mentality.
Wait. I'm
And
gonna
being-
speak to that. I'm gonna speak to that.
Okay, that Doc put in his head. You want to be a
I'm not
winner,
disagreeing.
you
I'm
have
not
to
disagreeing.
change.
I'm not disagreeing, but that alone wasn't gonna fix the problem that they were having, which is the perimeter shooting. Okay. Yes. And B, or as talented as he was, the maturity factor wasn't there. I absolutely agree with you. But that alone wasn't going to take you to that next level. You needed those complementary players, the Butler, the Reddicks, and so forth and so on. So
Absolutely.
they reloaded. They brought in Green. They brought in Seth to shore up the perimeter shooting in Philly. And, of course, got Embiid to, mature under Doc. So those combinations of moves is got them where they are right now. So that's what I'm saying. To say that, okay, well, they're going to trade Seth right away. Okay, maybe if they bring a Redick.
Yeah, it's a domino trade.
Yeah.
If that piece goes, the other one is possible to fall.
Yeah, if they bring a Redick. But if they don't bring a Redick, I can't
there's no need for that.
Trading Seth for Rivers because he doesn't
I
have
can't
a
either.
perimeter shot.
No, but it would be Peyton though that they get.
Huh?
But Peyton is the draw for them out of that because they need another backup
Yeah,
guard.
but Peyton doesn't solve the perimeter game.
Yeah, no, I know, I get you, but that's what I'm saying. It's all domino effect. If they bring in JJ to back up the shooting, and they freeze them up to trade for a better backup point guard. You know what I mean? Like it all affects each other. Without any of that happening, without the JJ Redick dropping first over there, none of the other stuff needs to be talked about because, like you said, it's not realistic for them. It doesn't help them in any way.
Right. And the MB point that you made, Notorious, you're absolutely correct. Is his mentality, but now that's been corrected with the right coach.
Well, that's why he's gonna be an MVP candidate this
year. Absolutely.
Because nobody can guard him so far, and now he's playing the proper way to play the game instead of standing on the 3-point line talking about I'm the man, give me the ball.
No, you're right. You're right. The other sleeper this move is Tobias Harris.
That's my boy from Long Island.
Yeah, he came over with Doc Rivers because he's played his best basketball under Doc, and now he's back with him because he was in the Clippers.
And then he was traded to the Sixers.
Yeah, he came before
seasons ago.
Yeah, exactly. And then Doc came, and then now he's playing up at his level. So it's interesting. It makes for good talk. That's what we're having right now. And it's a question of, as much as we're Knick fans, and we want certain players, we also have to look at, how does it impact the other team, and will they realistically make those kind of decisions? You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting. It's just a few more weeks away as things unfold with the trade deadline fast approaching.
Yep.
Okay, so with that said, let's talk about our prediction for tonight's game in terms of score. So I'm going to pass the rock to Notorious so you could do your thing. You could tell us your take, and then you could pass the rock from there.
Okay. Depending on mental capabilities, I could say that the win would be either 105-97.
Oof.
105-97, or it could be 101-98. Knicks favor. Depend on Cat's mentality.
Well, pick one. 105-90.
105-97 was my first pick.
Okay.
I don't back down.
Mm-hmm.
With that, we passing it to Bill Stradamus.
All right, quickly. 118-104 New York.
Nice.
That's it. 118-104. And I'll pass the rock over to the Dream.
All right. So I ain't even gonna lie about this. I think it's an important start for us to get back on the right track with this home stretch. But I'm gonna show you this because that's why I laughed. My score was 105-98 Knicks. That's why I laughed. That's how close we were. And with that, I'm gonna step back on them like Dame with that 3. Send it back up top to Santana.
And I, you know, I got half that score on my prediction, which is the 105 part. So I was definitely thinking 105. So we all on the same page. But I'm saying Minnesota 95.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So 105, 95, 10 points.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a day.
Yes. Yeah. So that's the deal, fellas. So with that being said, I guess, you know, we're going to chop it up during the game and stuff like that in terms of the chat that we normally run. And I'll definitely share that link with the JJ Redick and Julius Irving.
Julius Randle.
Julius Randle.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm thinking
Julius Irving, though.
Yeah,
I think they did Julius Irving, though. I think they had Julius Irving.
They probably did. But Julius Randle. But yeah, show
We're
that
not going here.
Show that shirt. Man, that looks like an authentic shirt too, man.
It is.
Oh, that's the doctor. Dr. J.
Nice.
From the ABA.
No, you know the jersey I want though. Bill, IS8 jersey.
Yo, your mom's calling me now, so I'm gonna have to mute.
Yeah. Hilarious.
The IS8, when we were kids, we used to go to IS8 where Kareem and all of them used to play, and we used to see all of this for free as kids.
Oh,
so
nice.
I would love to get his IS8 uniform when they used to play. They used to play there like they play at the Rucker.
Wow.
Now that would be something.
That's a class. All you need to top that jersey off is his autograph if you don't have it already.
No, I don't have it already, but I'm quite sure I could bump into him one day.
Hey man, hopefully he could sign it, man.
I don't think it'd be anything for him to sign it if I had it on me.
Exactly.
He's a nice guy. He's a real nice guy.
He's a classy guy. All right, fellas. So with that being said, we always close the show with our famous saying, once a Knick, always a Knick. All right, fellas.
Salute the king. Salute the king.
Randall.
Take it easy, fellas.